We now want to bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris. She joins us here on set. Misty, of course, to talk about where this goes from here. Kelly set us up very nicely for that, which is charges. What do we end up seeing? State versus federal, that 3-day rule the governor reminded us of. Kelly just touched on there. Walk us through what you're watching right now.
Absolutely. So once somebody is apprehended and now he's in state custody, there are 3 days for this individual to be formally charged. That means a probable cause affidavit. Probable cause that a crime was committed and this is the person that committed the crime. That affidavit is going to lay out the evidence to justify the arrest. So that's the next step. And we had learned a lot in this press conference about what's out there. We know there's a vehicle. We know there's clothing. We know there's impressions. Obviously, there's a gun. That will all be in that probable cause affidavit. Now, it doesn't have to be everything they know, but it's going to tell us what the justification is for the arrest, the formal charges, and then the next step will be indictment and will be into that formal legal process at the state level. Now, we know the federal government was very actively involved in this investigation. No doubt there was a joint investigation for something of this magnitude, but the federal government had a tremendous presence, as was just laid out for us. I'm sure the Department of Justice is going to look at everything that's been collected, make a determination about whether or not there's also an avenue for federal charges. And that would have to include something like interstate commerce, crossing of state lines. It could be the use of the internet. It could be that purchases for materials that were acquired in furtherance of this crime were gained through online activity. There's lots of different avenues. It's super fact specific, but I'm sure they're doing that analysis behind the scenes.
Isn't there the death penalty in Utah already? I mean, what would be why would you layer on federal charges if you already have state charges and the ultimate penalty hanging there?
Well, so it's what's called dual sovereignty. So you can face both state and federal charges for the same crime so long as there's a cognizable legal argument and basis under both sets of laws. So with Utah, there absolutely is the death penalty, requires showing of what's called an aggravating factor. So premeditated murder isn't enough. Aggravated factor means something enumerated in the statute. In Utah's statute, it says that if other people were in serious danger of harm, then you can be in that bucket of capital punishment. I think based on what we know and what we saw in that video, certainly there were many people around. But the reason that you would go for both is there's many reasons, but one is there's absolutely no guarantee in any criminal prosecution, no matter how strong the evidence seems, that there would ultimately be a conviction. So any avenue that can be pursued is likely to be, especially when you have something that played out like this, such a tragic circumstance.
Also, it's not just the question of whether it's state and federal, right? It's also just what the range of charges could be here.
Absolutely. And remember, we're focused on what will absolutely be murder charges, whether or not it's capital punishment. We know there had been, from the state side, they said they're working with lawyers to see if capital punishment can be pursued. But we also are going to have charges potentially relating to the gun, relating to other issues that we are not aware of at this point that could also be criminal activity. Some of those could fall under federal jurisdiction. Some of those could fall under state jurisdiction. Some could fall under both. Remember, when you're talking about a gun has a history. A gun tells a story. You learn a lot from that, and there's lots of different legal issues that come just from the mere fact that a gun was involved in this.
How significant are the next steps here? Because now they're still gathering evidence. They are still gathering evidence to try to determine a motive and to make these charges, whatever they turn out to be, stick.
So we were really focused, and law enforcement was really focused on apprehending this person, right? This photo came out, information to be identified and to ultimately apprehend. Now we're turning to everything that's out there about this individual, the planning, the preparation, and the motive. You're going to be looking at the digital footprint. You're going to be gathering evidence relating to these issues. How long has this been planned? What else is out there? All of that is going to be critically important to any prosecution.
I want to say thank you so much.